Morning. Right, so, sorry, one sec. Shut this door properly. Today I am doing I'm going to do a twin flame, soulmate, divine counterpart, whatever label you choose to put on your particular connection. Although I do feel this is going to resonate more for twins than soulmates. I feel it'll resonate a bit for some soulmates, but I don't know, it's just a feeling I'm getting with it. And I had intended to do this completely differently. Sorry, I'm still a bit throaty. I had intended to do this differently, but I just felt guided this morning to try and find a spread, and I found a great one on a site called the Whimsical Arcane. So just to credit them for that, but what I've done is I've adapted the questions slightly, because I think for a general reading, which this is, I think the questions needed to be a little less personal and a bit more general when digging into your counterpart, and I'll explain for why. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I do plenty of readings for twin flames, like personal readings. But I do sort of try to warn against digging too far into their personal sort of circumstances. I mean, as far as it affects you, then of course you've got a right to know. But sometimes if they're at a place with their healing that, you know, is still sort of quite personal to them, and they haven't, say they've had a particularly bad trauma that they've had to deal with, and then they're maybe not quite at a stage where they're either confronting it, or maybe they've just started therapy and it's something they haven't started talking to the therapist about yet. Just for me, it feels a little bit, and I say this to my clients on a personal level, that I always say for the cards to just give me as much as we're allowed, because I don't want to breach anybody's free will or privacy or anything like that. I mean, it shows quite a bit of growth on my part, because I used to be absolutely terrible when I was with my ex-husband, and I would check up on his whereabouts and everything all the time. And when it's come to my DM, I've really learned to keep that stuff under control. What I've done is I've taken this spread and I've adapted a few of the questions in it. So what we'll look at is, in the original spread, it's like your readiness for union or mission or whatever. But I've kind of adapted that to look at like where you are in your current energy, and the same for them. The next couple of cards are like to do with the karmic issue. So obviously this will go as far like your karmic issue and their karmic issue. So as far as it goes for them, it may be a little vague. As this is a general reading, it may not go too much into detail for you as well, but it'll give you an idea of what is coming to attention at this time. I mean, the original reading was more of a sort of like covering all stages, whereas I'm intending this to just sort of cover this particular stage that you're at the moment. So if we were to do the reading again, it can develop and change over time. So it's just sort of like the karmic issue that each of you are working on at the moment. What insight it does give you regarding their side, it should help you to be able to sort of understand where they're at. So if you're in complete separation and no communication or anything like that, then it should help you to kind of maybe pull back a touch and give them some space. Next part would be what you can do to help your twin and what your twin is doing to help you. So by this, and again I've slightly adapted this because this is another thing, I get a lot of twins come to me and they'll ask, like, they want to sort of rush their twin through their healing, and well, you can't do that. You can't do it for them. It's like a process. But it may show things like what particular thing they've triggered in you in the most recent separation or something like that. So that's the kind of energy I'm looking at with that. The next couple of questions about divine guidance. What is your divine guidance at this time? So that should help to get some practical guidance for you to work with. Again, may not show up a massive amount for them, but it'll probably tally sort of a little bit with what the karmic stuff is. So you can see where the mirroring kind of is and what you can do from your side to help the connection, but without trying to force it. And then central card will be the outcome. So I'm hoping this works. And I'm glad I found this spread like pretty much straight away as soon as I googled for it, because I'm intending to do a reading to do with karmics and like a bit of an information sort of video to go with it, because it seems to be a bit of a hot topic, mostly sort of among kind of newly awakened twins more than anyone. So just some stuff that'll help reassure. But I've got a feeling it will tie in with this because it just sort of seems to be falling into place. So instead of me yammering on, I'm going to carry on and get on with this reading. So I'll draw to this deck. Let's dig in and see what we've got. So your current energy, that was quick. Whoop. So we've got the Six of Swords, which is it's about walking away from things that have been turbulent, you know, kind of like any sort of chaos and drama. It can be simplifying your life a little bit. If you've been having, you know, you just got to a stage where you're done with drama and it's like, right, I'm going towards something a bit more calm. It can be a light at the end of a tunnel as well. If you've been through a particularly tricky time lately, this is saying that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So that's where your energy is at the moment. So I feel for some of you that this reading is for, you've maybe started to get to some sort of, perhaps not surrender stage per se, but you're starting to get to a stage where you're not like longing over the connection. So that's good. That should, if that's the case, that'll come through nicely here with some good guidance for you to keep moving forward. Take a look at their readiness and current energy. Right, so Strength card. So yeah, they're for this bunch of twins, it seems that, and I'm not like looking at one side as particularly DM or DF, this is like applied, which, you know, like when I say your energy, I'm applying it to you, but it can be reversed. So, and that's coming through a lot in everybody's readings at the moment, is that the energies are flipped no matter what you do. Which is also a good sign because it means that you're syncing up and mirroring. So, yeah, so strength. This is indicating that they may be starting to put lessons to use. They're at a point where they're starting to understand that certain things have been for a reason. So, your karmic issue that you're working on currently, Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles can be about balancing karma. Like literally looking at like karma, but it can be about like your financial world. We've got two sixes as well have come out for your energy. It can be about like equal give and take and equal reciprocity with things. It's like balance. So this indicates for me that, because you've had, say, your energy at the moment, you're walking away from things that have been no good for you with these Six of Swords as well. Whatever you've been through lately, whatever you've been working on, that balance is coming in. It's coming in mentally, it's coming in financially. So, yeah, that's really positive. So as I look at their side, any current karmic issues or energies that they're dealing with. The Magician. It's interesting. So for some this can be, they may be if they've been waking up, they're sort of coming to understand. You know how we've got two sixes few, and then between these we've got 111 on their side as well. So I feel this is like an awakening. This is the waking up, starting to put things in perspective, starting to understand that there's magic in the world and there's a lot more under the surface than the mundane reality that they thought there was. This is nice. This is showing some growth, and to me it also shows that they're beginning to realise that the power is in their hands to make changes, coupling that with strength as well. That's some really nice energy. So what can you do to help the connection? See, this is probably more likely work on yourself that you can do like on yourself for yourself than it is for the connection. But obviously whatever you do can help with it. So Knight of Swords. Choosing logic over emotion, swift changes. It can be information coming in really quickly. It can be taking action towards like a cause or something that you feel really strongly about. So this feels to me, because we've got two lots of swords here as well, so this is like mental energy. There's just some clarity on your side and things are balancing out, and you know, this is kind of like about ploughing forward, and you're getting that mental balance. You're not like obsessing over like the connection. You're realising that putting the work into your life is what's necessary. And I do feel that's like a little bit of mirrored energy there. So that's nice. What your twin is doing to help you. That was forthcoming. We've got all major arcana coming out for the counterpart here as well. The sun. So, waking up, the sun coming up, this is all about, as they're releasing this darker energy and coming more into the power, they're releasing some of this heavy burden on you that you've maybe been feeling energetically. I really like this, because especially those that sort of resonated with the current energies when nothing feels like it's been moving, I have kind of thought it's maybe a lot of, because I know it resonated with a lot of twin flames, it's maybe sort of their energy. They've been stuck and going through this sort of awakening where strength has been, you know, like the strength cards come into play, and starting to really sort of wake up to sort of the power and the magic in the world. So that in itself is releasing some of this heaviness on you. This is maybe where you're feeling this mental clarity. It's starting to lift. And if you're struggling with that, like energy clearing exercises, you know, to help you sort of lift their energy. I know Steve Noble has some to do with like dissolving negative cards. It doesn't dissolve like, I mean you can't dissolve the twin flame card anyway, but it doesn't dissolve any positive cards in your life. It just helps to get rid of any negative ones. So something along that line may be helpful to you as well, just to make sure that energy is flowing. So your divine guidance at this time. Four of Pentacles. Yours is very, very sort of stable, grounded. I mean, it's really, really nice to see, because the feminines do carry sort of, they seem to take all the burden of the emotional stuff. So for this to be coming through was like your material and financial stuff and mental energy. This kind of shows that you're reaching some kind of balance. The Four of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles both coming out for you are quite interesting, because they're both cards to do with balancing money and work and time, on one level, but they are to do with balancing energy. So with the Four of Pentacles, you could be holding on to something a little too tightly. I mean, I'm feeling that there could be some kind of like, what's the word? Not animosity, some kind of resentment towards something that's maybe happened with your DM that's potentially blocking energy flow. However, that again is not necessarily a bad thing if you've had to do that to kind of balance your energy, because they've been stuck in this sort of dark place and it's finally allowed them to work through it, because you do have to detach your energy at some point if you're just sort of feeding the connection all the time and it's giving them a buffer to not do the work, sort of thing. But this is saying whatever you put out is what you get back. So then the Six of Pentacles is, with it being sort of a karmic issue, so you're being guided to work on this karmic issue, so to balance your finances, to look at energy flow, what you're putting out and what you're getting back. So that's where your focus needs to be. That's your guidance and that's your karmic issue. So the two are definitely tied in there. Their divine guidance at this time. Their divine guidance. Four of Wands. They're being guided to move towards union, towards happier. Please don't get ahead of ourselves, but look what we've got here as well. On both sides, Four of Pentacles, Four of Wands. It's mirroring right across this, right across the board. They're being guided to go towards what they want, their happiness, and you're being guided to look at that energy flow. See, with their karmic energy being the Magician, and about sort of creating the reality, and then they've got the Four of Wands, like the sun sort of coming up, that they're realising sort of whatever stage the connection's been at for you and whatever they weren't realising before, they are now, and they're being divinely guided. They're being divinely guided to start manifesting this union. I love this. I really wasn't expecting these cards to be as forthcoming as they are, to be honest. This doesn't mean that it's right around the corner, and I'll pull some clarifiers so we can look a little further. But this does mean, like I say, we've got all major arcana here too. The divine is working on them. You need to be working on keeping grounded and making sure that your energy flow isn't kind of blocking them off because you're holding on to some kind of resentment, which I know isn't necessarily the easiest thing to do when they've hurt you in some way. But I mean, it may not be necessarily with them. It may be that you're working on this kind of balance of another situation, something else that's gone on in your life that you've been getting guided to work on. But yeah, that's, right, so the outcome for this stage of this reading. So we've got Epiphany, the Hermit card. So this is asking you both to, this is kind of, the Hermit is kind of like, it's withdraw from any kind of like outside conflict, chaos, drama, interference, anything like that, and really start to go within and look for the answers inside yourself. Not to be, it's about your own spiritual growth and development. So like working on yourself. So I'm not seeing, like I said, I'm not seeing like instant union here, but they are being sort of guided to work towards that, and you're being guided to work towards balancing your material, like your material surroundings. It can be work, it can be money, it can be energy, but it's just getting things in balance. So I'm going to take a few clarifiers just so we can get a little bit more info. See if there's anything more Spirit wants to give us. So, the Six of Swords. Is there anything else that we need to know regarding the Six of Swords? See, if you're walking away from things that aren't serving you and finding balance, it's like you need to work out whatever it is that you need to be walking away from to achieve that balance. Queen of Wands. So yeah, this is the Queen of Wands. She's got a shadow side, so this could be working on some kind of shadow. It may be that you come into your power, because this is your current energy. So this is kind of asking you, it's like stand in your power. And if that's what you're doing, that's brilliant. That's exactly where, where you need to be. Just to ensure that power that you're standing in isn't sort of creating blockages. The meaning of this card is when you give, you also receive. Being resistant to changes, extremes in how you save or spend money, but that money could be energy as well. So if you're using your power as the Queen of Swords to just completely block them out, then that, like I said, will create, it can create blockages. But we'll see their readiness and overall energy, strength. So they're the consolidating lessons. Let's see, can we get a clarifier on strength just to get a little bit more information? Ooh, what have we got there? High Priestess. Their intuition's kicking in. They're starting to balance. The feminine, the knowledge is starting to come through, and the understanding. We've got the High Priestess and the Magician come out for them. So this Hermit energy may be slightly more them than it is you. But they are doing this inner work. They are starting to come to this understanding and this knowledge. I really like this reading. So let's find out a little bit more about the Six of Pentacles for you. What is the Six of Pentacles all about? It's about giving. It's like giving and receiving as well. Is the Six of Pentacles. Both the Four and Six of Pentacles have got giving and receiving as their meaning. Right, so come out with that Ten of Cups. I'm going to get another clarifier on this. This could mean it's family issues that need balancing on your side. This definitely ties in with what I wanted to talk about with the karmics thing as well. It's just kind of like, cause I know a lot of people get frustrated with the DMs, when I say DMs, that's from one side, it can be the DS, not leaving a karmic and things like that. But I know from experience that the intricacies of everything that's sort of going on in the background. So I wanted to give a few examples to kind of talk about that. So this is tying in nicely, and it's confirming that I do kind of need to do this video. Judgment's come out with that as well. So for you, although this, like I say, this can be reversed, but it's coming to some kind of judgment and understanding regarding family issues. You've been working on balancing family karma, because you've got to remember, in the connection, there isn't just you and your twin. You know, they may have children, you may have children, you could live in opposite countries. There's all sorts of things that the universe is moving around in the background like chess pieces. And it's easy to forget that all this stuff has to be moved around and lined up and what have you. So yeah, for you, whatever this like family energetic is, there's some kind of like judgment needs to be made with it. There's some kind of rebalancing and it's like things being lined up and organised and sorted out on your side in that sense, in order to kind of move the connection forward, if I'm articulating that okay. Let's take a look at this magician for them, please, if we may. Ace of Cups. That to me is just completely indicating that, like with the High Priestess that we've had here, this is like the messages coming in from Spirit. You know, they're like stepping into the psychic gifts, they're getting psychic downloads, they're getting psychic information, their awakenings kicking in full throttle here. They're coming to realise the gravity of the connection. For those that are already aware of the connection and the gravity of it, they're coming to terms with it. That's brilliant. Where are we? So, what can you do to help your twin? So the Seven of Wands jumped out on the Knight of Swords. So the Seven of Wands, I'm going to get another clarifier. It can be either standing your ground, but that standing your ground can be blocking, which I've already sort of discussed. We've got the Sun come out with that as well. You're standing your ground with something in your head that you maybe need to look at from a slightly different perspective. Now, that doesn't mean to say that you're wrong, you know, but the Queen of Wands, like I say, she does have a shadow side, so you've gained your power, you've learnt your worth, but with that, have you took it to the other extreme? And are you standing your ground with something? Is there maybe still a bit of an inner child wound lingering that maybe needs some work? Like again, the Queen of Swords, she can be shadow. We've got sunflowers on both of these. So is there still some shadow lingering? And like I say, it's fab that you've learned your worth and you're standing in your power. That does not mean that you should like drop that in any way, but you may be holding on to and standing your ground on something that is, you know, it's potentially causing some kind of energetic blockage, and maybe that balance just needs to be found. Like, they may have hurt you in the past, they may have done something that has caused you hurt, and you holding on to that is creating this sort of energetic blockage. And that's not to say that, you know, you should excuse everything that they do, because you absolutely shouldn't. You do need to stand in your power, and they trigger us to do that. They trigger us, they create, like, they'll trigger off a wound and then rush off again and leave us to have to heal it. That's exactly what we have to do, is heal it. So I do feel that there's maybe some shadow here that's like, you know, it's just creating some little bit of the blockage of the energy flow. I mean, you've both got the sun here mirroring each other now, so this is kind of like realizations and waking up to that sort of energy. You've both been healing wounds, or you both like need to be working on that type of thing. See what we get for this side, what your twin is doing to help you. You're both making each other realise things, and you're both making each other work on wounds and so we've got the Three of Cups, which is, it can be collaboration with others. This coming out was like, what is your twin doing to help you? This could either be that they're working on their stuff to move closer to union, but I feel it's maybe more, you know, like these girls are out having fun, you know, sort of like maybe you've been triggered into, like, you know, sort of seeing you with going out and having fun with people who are on the same page as you, and that's helped you to grow in some way. I'm going to take another clarifier on that. Yeah, the Five of Pentacles. So for me, his behaviour, whatever he's done or whatever he's not done, that's made you feel sort of out in the cold with him, it has forced you to put your energy elsewhere, you know, into like communicating with other, if you're the, you know, the feminine in the connection, you're like reaching out to other feminines. I'll take one more clarifier there, just build that picture properly. It just helps to put into perspective for you how, even though it may not feel like it, what they've done may actually be helping. Too many to take there. Although I feel the handman may have been the message, to help them look from another perspective. Yeah, look, growth. Whatever it is, whatever the situation has been with the two of you, it has been for a reason. It's been for them to trigger some kind of growth in you. You need to look deeply into whatever your trigger or particular wound was with your connection, and try and work out what it was really showing you. Right, so let's look at this Four of Pentacles, because this is where it's really important for you to get this guidance so you know what you're doing. And this is about balancing energy flow, balancing money. It's remembering that what you put out is what you get back. So if you're putting out anger towards him, he's kind of going to feel that towards you too. Not that it isn't justified, but, you know, it's about learning to balance that. Five of Wands, conflict, drama, not seeing eye to eye. There's been some conflict or some argument or some situation where they have really upset or triggered you in some way, and you've both clashed. You've clashed big time. But in that clash, in whatever he's done, it has forced you to grow and gain your power, stand in your power, and kind of say, do you know what, I'm not taking this anymore. I'm not taking this behaviour. I deserve better than this. But it's kind of, the feeling I've been getting with it all along, like holding on to the resentment. It's time to start to see and understand how they're triggering you as being for growth. At some point, and they're coming to understand that what they did wasn't right. This is what is coming through on their side. This is what they're starting to understand, that if they want this 4-1s, this union, they're going to need to step up the game and not realise it could be apologies, things like that. You really need to step away from any conflict. It's like letting those conflicts and dramas and upsets go. And it doesn't mean you have to take it on the chin either. If they come back with the same attitude, don't take it, don't stand for it. But it's about balancing out the energies and understanding what it's all for, what the triggers are for, sort of thing. So let's just take a look at this 4 of Wands. Ace of Wands. So this is to take the opportunity, to come forward with that wand. They've got 2 aces on their side. They're being given all this guidance, this knowledge, this understanding, and they're getting to grips with it. They're starting to really see how it all works and the intricacy of it. And they are really being guided to sort of move forward. Magician, 4 of Wands, Ace of Cups, Ace of Wands. They're being sort of really guided to do something about it now. So, knowing all this, let's get a clarifier on this outcome card. I feel like with this Hermit, it's like you're both going to grow from this. It's like spiritual growth, and the Ace of Wands it is spiritual growth. They're growing spiritually. Can't take all those, but I am going to take the Chariot because it fell out pretty much on top of it. So yeah, it's movement forward, it's soul growth, it's retreating from. It's like really going inward to assess where you're at individually in order to then come out of that and really move forward. Yeah, the Fool. Get a new start. Move forward, take a leap of faith. They're really being guided to do that with this Ace of Wands and the Ace of Cups. It's like to get a new start on things. And it's like these epiphanies are coming through. This is the outcome. And then with that Chariot and the Fool, it's kind of like things are moving forward. Trust that the universe has got it all moving. Those epiphanies are coming to them. They're coming to you as well. Just like you're having this reading and then maybe sort of digging in to look at these shadows and seeing where your blockages are, where they've triggered you, work out, really go in, work out what these karmic triggers are that you need to clear and work on. And it's not just for them, for the connection, it's for yourself. It's important that, sometimes the twin flame connection can feel a little codependent. You have to remember that it's not. It's the opposite of that. And for your mission and purpose, the universe isn't going to make you dependent on someone else for that. It's very much about being able to go it alone. So all of this is setting you up in some way for you to be able to fulfill your mission and purpose without them. And then when you are able to, you're in a place where you could do that, and so are they, then you kind of match up and do it together, if that makes sense. So your guidance, really, really look at the Hermit. Go inside yourself, come away from any dramas, any conflicts. Look at balancing out anything you can to do with the family, and look at everything that you're putting out. You know, like all the energy you're putting out, everywhere where your focus goes, energy flows. I think that's how the saying goes. Or where attention goes, energy flows, or something like that. This is really about seeing, you know, like, are you getting involved in arguments that aren't necessary, and sort of dwelling on conflicts? Everything that's pulled into your reality is to show you something. There's a pattern that you need to pick up. So, yeah, not a lot more to say there, really. I hope this helps. I do karma. I've got like karmic wheel spreads that I can do that help you look at joint karma. There's karma spreads I can do that help you look at your own. All the information will be in the description box for personal readings. So if you'd like to go a little further and look into your own personal, because obviously this is general. So and kind of see if there's anything that you've been missing, then feel free to contact me, and we can discuss a private reading. But for now, that is your twin flame energies. It's timeless too, but I'll aim to do maybe a review in around a week's time for this, and we'll see if anything's different or shifted or whatever else. So yeah, thank you.